So there are two things, in my opinion, I feel are very important for you to consider in order to select the right foundation shade. The first thing is your undertone, and the second thing is your skin type. I'm going to elaborate more on these two things I just mentioned. What is an undertone? An undertone is the underlying color your skin has. Everyone has different undertone. There are three types of undertone. One, cool undertone. Two, neutral undertone. And three, warm undertone. I'm going to explain each undertone shortly. So when you have a cool undertone is when you have a bluish or purple skin undertone. And when you have a neutral undertone is when you have neither cool or warm, which is like the word neutral, you're in between. And warm undertone is basically when you have a goldish red undertone. And I'm going to tell you how you can tell what undertone you have. There are multiple ways to tell what undertone one has. The first way I would recommend is looking at your vein, and if you have green veins, that means you have warm undertone. If your veins is kind of purplish or blue, that means you have a cool undertone. And if you can't really tell, it means you have neutral undertone. Another way for you to tell what undertone you have is by jewelry. And if you wear a gold jewelry and it fits you better, that means you have a warm undertone. If you wear silver jewelry and it fits you better, that means you have a cool undertone. If you could wear or get away with both, it means that you have a neutral undertone. So guys, from looking at my veins, can you see it? You want to tell me what undertone I have? Okay, never mind, you can't see it. But from looking at my veins, I have green undertone. Can you comment in the section below what undertone you think that is? Because it's green, what category do I fall under? Do I fall under warm, neutral, or cool? So for me, because I have green veins, that means I fall under the warm undertone. I know that I'm wearing silver jewelry, but I mean, gold jewelry fits me better, but I decided to wear silver now. If I put on the gold jewelry, it's going to look nicer, but today I'm just feeling like silver. Anyways, back to the undertone. Now that we've talked and determined how we can tell what undertone we have, the next thing is your skin type. Now we have three different kinds of skin types. We have normal, we have dry, we have oily. Actually, we have four. We have combination as well. So to get to the right foundation, you have to know what skin type you have. How can you tell if you have an oily skin type? Obviously, if you produce oil, and the best way to know is once you take a shower, do not put any product on, and with that you could tell if your face gets oily without putting any product after a shower. You can tell that you have oily skin type. If your face is normal, it means you have a normal skin type. If your face is dry, of course, it means you have dry skin. And if your face produces oil in a certain area, just your T-zone, and every other part of your face is dry, it means that you have a combination skin type. Now that you know how to tell your skin type, let's move on to matching our foundation. So guys, there are three ways to match your foundation, three ways that I could recommend. The first way is eyeballing it. I'll show you in a minute how to eyeball and pick the right foundation. The second way is going to Sephora. Sephora has a machine, a handheld machine called the Color IQ, where they take a picture of your skin without makeup and tell you what undertone and what skin type you have, and it also matches you to the correct foundation or concealer. So that's another way if you're still confused about what I just explained earlier. Another way is online matching. I will put a link below that tells you. There's also a Color IQ website online that matches closest to your foundation or recommends foundation that does the same thing that you do in person at Sephora. So I'll put a link down below so you could try out those methods. But then if you're going to drugstore doesn't have this color IQ, so you might want to match your eyeball your foundation by yourself and try to match it to get the perfect shade. Another thing I would actually suggest is when you go to Sephora and let's say you find your perfect shade, and of course obviously we know that Sephora sells high-end foundations, I mean, compared to drugstore. If you get the perfect shade from Sephora, you could actually use that shade as a measure to get the drugstore foundation. So if you get a perfect shade and you get a foundation, you can get a sample, and with that try to match it with a drugstore foundation if you're looking for something affordable. So you don't have to stick with the expensive foundation. You could get the dupe in the same shade from drugstore foundation. You're welcome. So let's jump right into eyeballing, the method that you would need if you want to shop by yourself. So guys, I've gone ahead to pick up a couple of foundation shades from the same brand. So guys, these are the 4 foundation shades I've picked up. They are all from the same brand, which is Maybeline Fit Me. They're just in different shades, and right off the bat you can tell that, putting them close to my face, you can tell that these 2 are way too light for me. So I'm just going to toss them aside because they are definitely not my shade, and that's how you eyeball it. Like, you eliminate the ones that are too light, and I'm stuck with these 2. So I feel like I can get away with one of them or both of them. So I'm going to do a swatch, and we'll see which one fits better, okay? So I forgot to mention, one is lighter of course and one is darker. So this is a lighter one and this is darker one, and the lighter one is 356 and the darker one is 360, which is matcha, and the lighter one is warm coconut. So I'm going to take the lighter one and swatch on this side of my face. Let me just put my hair to the side. Okay. So this is a lighter one. I'm going to swatch it here. You guys see it? Swatch. And then I'm going to go with the darker one and do the same thing. Ooh, swatching. Okay, now so you can see both sides. You can obviously see the difference. So there are a couple of things I need to mention before I what I'm going to do is apply more on this whole side, cover this whole side with our foundation, and I'm going to do the same thing for this side. Okay, but before that, there are a couple of things I need to mention, which is the other things you need to consider when selecting a foundation. One, sometimes swatching the foundation is not enough. You would have to apply it on a larger scale on your area of your face in order to see if it actually matches, because we all know that foundation oxidizes. That's one. Okay, 2, you need to keep in mind that unfortunately there are some people that will not get their exact foundation in one shade. You might have to get 2 foundations. I mean, life is unfair. So you might have to get 2 foundations and try both of them and mix them to get the perfect shade. And sometimes getting 2 foundations, you can get away with it in the sense that one shade would match you in the summer, the darker shade of course, and the lighter shade in the winter, because we all change complexions during each season. So that you have to keep in mind too, because the darker foundation, there's no point buying foundation all the time. So if you buy one light foundation and one dark foundation, you could keep one for summer and one for winter, and sometimes you would have to mix them to get the perfect shade. For me, I use just one foundation, winter, summer. Why? Because I always conceal every time I use foundation, and that's what I'm going to talk about in a minute. Another thing you have to consider when selecting the right foundation is, do you want a foundation that you would only use a powder for, or do you want to conceal? If you want to select a foundation that you only use powder for, you'd have to go closest to your skin so that you don't look darker or lighter. If you want to match exactly your skin tone, does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to give you for example. Like you see here, this foundation here, it's close to my skin, but this one is darker and this one is lighter. And this lighter one is kind of closer to my skin in sense that it's kind of closer to my skin, so which means that I can apply it all over and put just powder and I'm good to go, and it will match my skin and stay the same. Whereas this one, when would I need to use this one is when I apply concealer. Why? Because whenever you apply concealer on the lighter part of your face, it makes your face brighter. So if you apply a foundation that is exactly your shade or a little bit brighter than your shade, your face is going to look white. Like it's not going to look blended. Does that make sense? So you can go a shade darker for your foundation when applying concealer, but if you're not applying concealer, you can go your exact shade. So that's another thing you would need to consider and keep in mind when selecting foundations. So yeah, I'm going to apply both sides. For me, I'm fine with either foundations because I usually if I'm just applying foundation and powder, this will go, and if I'm applying foundation and concealer, this will go. So what I'm going to do is apply it all over on this side of my face, and I'll apply the other shade on this side of my face so that we'll see how it looks. Be right back, guys. Okay, so guys, I've gone ahead to apply both foundations. I look crazy, but this is the darker one, 360. This is what it looks like, and this is the lighter one, 365. This is what it looks like. Please let me know in the comment section which one you think is more of my shade, but like I said, I feel like I can get away with both. And there's something I noticed with this foundation, which is one has a yellow undertone and one has a red undertone. I think I gave an expo already, but can you guys tell me which one has a yellow undertone and red undertone? Please comment down in the section below. Okay, so of course I think this one has a yellow undertone. Sure, this foundation on my hair. Anyways, I feel so I think this one has a yellow undertone and this one has a red undertone. And there's something that you need to consider as a dark skin, or if you're on there's something that you need to consider when selecting your foundation, which is yellow and red undertone as well. They both fall under warm undertone category, right? And if you have a yellow undertone, you could either have a red undertone and a yellow undertone. By just looking at my face, you can tell which side is more reddish and which side is more yellowish, and with that you can tell what kind of foundation. And sometimes just bringing the foundation close by, you can tell this one has red undertone and this one has more yellow undertone. Does that make sense? So you will have to look at your skin as well and see what undertone fits you, what color of warm undertone fits you best. Is it red or is it yellow? Another way to determine if a red or warm undertone fits you is by looking at your neck and your chest as well. So is your neck or your chest, most times our neck and chest is a different color from our face. So do you have a yellow yellow undertone, yellow color. It's just more on the yellow side compared to red. So this is yellow and this is red. Just by putting both of them, you can tell that of course the yellow one suits me better than the red. So that's one thing you need to consider as well when selecting a foundation. I think I touched everything I wanted to touch, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and complete my makeup because I look crazy, guys. So I'll be right back to round up my video so you guys will see. And I don't know, I feel like I want to leave my face like this, and I was checking. I would use the yellow foundation. Sorry, I'm going to apply concealer, so I will use of course the one that has a red undertone, because I'm going to apply concealer so that I don't look too crazy. I'll be right back, guys. See you shortly. I feel like I don't want to go. But yeah, I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, so I'm back. I finished my foundation and did my whole face, and this is the finished look. I hope I was able to convince you. No, sorry. I hope I was able to help and not confuse you. If you're still confused and you still need help, please, my email will be written down below. I offer personal makeup shopping services, and I can help you and put you through your makeup list, and I can help you find the foundation shade if you're still confused. Thank you for coming. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.